Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit the subscribe button. There it is, so you don't miss any of our football content this season. It has been, if I might say, fantastic. College football preview presented by JLab. JLab has the best audio products in the game. They're ready to take care of you this football season. So whether you're traveling to watch your favorite team play or just streaming the game at home, find the blue box and the JLab audio products at Walmart, Target, Best Buy, and more. Just visit jlab.com. All right, little instant reaction on a thrilling Penn State 33-30 win over USC in the Coliseum on a beautiful, beautiful day in Los Angeles. We were at COSM, the volume staff, and myself were at COSM, LA, Dallas. These are just incredible places to watch games. So we had a lot of fun today, and I want to thank the people. COSM.com, get your tickets. An incredible place to watch college football. My favorite environment I've ever been outside of going to the Rose Bowl or stadiums. So first of all, let's talk Penn State. So 17 catches for tight end Tyler Warren, tied for the most ever for a tight end in college football. Tremendous day. And, Drew Aller, there's something there. He basically targeted one guy, but that's okay. I mean, if you've got a great mismatch, take advantage of it. But they had 24 second half points. They had 518 yards, dominant first down advantage over USC. And I think it's very hard to ask a team of college kids to travel 3,000 miles plus and win a football game. Many of them had probably never been to the state of California. So I think anytime you go on the road and you beat talented players, it matters. I mean, USC couldn't beat Minnesota last week. So Penn State deserves a lot of credit for that. And they were down. And in the fourth quarter, it looked like, there were a couple of times you're like, they're down and out. They fought back. James Franklin, Drew Aller, Ty Warren, really nice win for Penn State, a very good football team. And a team that has a shot to get into the playoff. And I think, they've got some elite players on both sides of the ball. And again, Drew Aller, by college comps, a very steady quarterback. So I think Penn State's a really good football team. Not great. I don't think they're going to beat Texas or Ohio State or Georgia. But, I mean, we've seen how vulnerable Alabama is defensively. So, I mean, it's a good football team. And that's a really nice win traveling cross country. In terms of USC, I have conversations all the time in Los Angeles about USC, and I think some of you think I literally don't sleep. I toss and turn when USC loses, but a lot of this it's fun. I love college football. It's theater. I thought the team would be better, but my concern about USC coming into the season was they've got two seniors on the offense, a center and a running back, Woody Marks. And increasingly, Monheim, the center, and Woody Marks look like the entire offense on a consistent basis. Today is a great example. He had 20 carries for 5.5 yards carry. No other running back had more than 3 carries, and Miller Moss is not mobile. If they were going to run the football, there was one person, and if you watch the game, he's just significantly better than the other young running backs on USC's roster. But there's no excuses. They were outplayed in the second half. And I think one of the things that's very clear about Lincoln Riley, so I counted just off 2 minutes ago before I started this, Lincoln Riley is 6-7 in his last 13 games and has beaten the bad teams. And LSU was a nice W, but they've mostly lost to the better teams. The Penn States, Notre Dame's, Oregon's, they've lost to those teams. And, beating Louisville and Utah State is just, those are gimmies. Those are layups. They're not winning the slam dunks. They're not winning above the iron very often. And I think you have to be honest about Miller Moss. He is a pocket quarterback. And whether it's college or pro football, there is a huge advantage. You get another third of the playbook when you have a quarterback that can move. And that was Caleb Williams, and that was Kyler Murray. Those are quarterbacks. Spencer Rattler for Lincoln in Oklahoma could move a little bit. Miller Moss he's Jared Goff, but not that good of a pocket passer. So there's limitations on what he can do. They can't move the pocket. And so I don't think this is a perfect quarterback. I think he's a really good college quarterback. Not great, but he's a good college quarterback. But when you have a young offensive line, a one-dimensional run game with one player, Woody Marks, and a quarterback that can't move, And there's about 35-40% of the playbook that you couldn't use if you had somebody that was able to, off script make plays happen. So it's a pretty predictable offense with their best players on the perimeter, a Deuce Robinson, Hudson, Branch, Lemon. I mean, these guys are all more than capable. They all feel like twos instead of ones, but they're all capable, different body types. But it's a very limited offense that is incredibly young on the offensive line. But this is really my big, and I said this last week, USC has 2 playable offensive tackles in the program, and that's embarrassing. I mean, dating back to the early 70s, I mean, there was a time USC was the home of the best left tackles in college football. Tony Baselli, Anthony Munoz. They really struggle to recruit the interior defensive line, and USC really struggles to land elite tackles. Michigan gets them, Ohio State gets them, LSU gets them, Texas gets them, Oklahoma gets them, USC doesn't. And Lincoln Riley's an offensive coach. They just do not recruit elite offensive tackles on a regular basis. They settle for guys that other programs have moved off of. They arm wrestle away an occasional tackle from a Wisconsin. They're not beating out Ohio State for those tackles or Michigan for those tackles. They pried away Elijah Page from Notre Dame. He'll be good eventually. He's not there yet. He's a redshirt freshman. But that's a failing of this program. They have not recruited the 2 positions that are so valuable in college football and in the NFL. Left tackles and interior great defensive linemen. They don't have them. 3 years in, they don't have any. Not one. And you're not going to beat the top 6 or 7 programs in the country when you're at B or C level at those positions. You can ham and egg at tight end. You don't have to have a superstar running back or great safeties. You better be good at quarterback, left tackle, defensive interior lineman, and corner, and a weapon or 2. Weapons, I don't worry about USC. So, I think last 13 games, this is basically a 500 team and struggling with teams that are physical. I do think offensively next year they'll be better. I also think last year's recruiting class, they did land a couple of nice defensive linemen. But it's called the transfer portal, and USC's got about $13 million a year, $13 million a year in NIL money, but that's going to vanish very quickly if they don't start winning games. LA is a big distracted market. People do not follow losers. They don't. This is not Norman, Oklahoma. It's not the only game in town. I mean, the Dodgers are in the National League Championship Series. You got Rams and Chargers. You got the Lakers and the Clippers. Clippers have a new arena. There's 31 music venues, the beach, the mountains, Vegas is nearby. People aren't going to sit around here and, you go to a lot of these small college towns, they have a college football program. People will go on a Friday night to, the college baseball game. And, that's the biggest thing in town. This is not LA. Money crowd doesn't support losers. And right now, this is just an average program. I do think offensively, their future's brighter than defensively. But, I thought they would be a better football team than this. And I thought after the LSU win, I thought, okay, they're a good program now. They're not a national championship team, but they could sneak into the playoff 10th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th seed. No. They're going to finish middle of the pack in the Big Ten, and they're very lucky. They're not playing Oregon this year, and they're not playing Ohio State this year. So USC got Notre Dame and Penn State at home and Michigan in a rebuild. And they'll probably end up, Vegas was right, 6 or 7 win team. And that's not good enough. They've had plenty of time. I mean, it'd be one thing if you didn't have the transfer portal or NIL. You had to literally rebuild a program that Clay Helton handed them with strictly high school players. You can go buy players now. And they just don't have enough good players. Kamari Ramsey's very good on the defensive side. Woody Marks at running back is exceptional. That's about it. That's your special players. Instant reaction. Congrats to Penn State, 33-30. That's a really nice win for that program. And good for young guys to go on the road, trail in LA, long way from home, a lot of, adversity in that game, came back and won in overtime, and totally impressive. I don't remember the last time I saw a tight end that dominant in the game. But you know what? If he's got matchup advantages, go to him. I mean, USC was running Woody Marks. That's the only guy they were running. Penn State said, tight end, throw to him. I get it. 33-30 Penn State. Way to go.